how your voice sounds is what's going on inside you. That includes your attitude, your feelings, and the way you are holding yourself in your body. It's all going to affect how you sound,
Okay.
whether you like it or not.
Okay, welcome back to another Sauna Sessions with Shay. We are going digital across the globe to Liverpool, where I'd love to welcome Floyd Kennedy into the studio. How are you, Floyd?
I'm good, thanks, Shay. How you doing?
Fantastic. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast. Now, just for the punters at home, Floyd is an actress, singer, songwriter, performance poet. She's created an app called Being in Voice, and she's also got a podcast called Am I Old Yet? You've been in the industry. How long have you been in the industry for now, Floyd?
Since I was about 8.
8. Okay. Bloody hell. Now, look, and the reason I wanted to get you on the podcast is because you were my very first voice coach and teacher back at university. This is probably about 15 years ago at QUT, Kelvin Grove.
Yep.
But I just wanted to start it with a story, and this is how I actually met you for the first time. Was we were in an auditorium of about, 4,000, 5,000 seated auditorium, and as usual, I was late to the party. I rocked up and I went right up the very back, right, where I couldn't be seen, and just writing notes or just doing Shay stuff as I did. And then I think the lecturer came out and introduced you. And when you came out to speak behind the microphone didn't work. And so you said, stuff it, I'll just do it in front of 4,000 people without a microphone. And I'm up the back and I can hear you clear as day. And I'm like, holy shit, this lady's got a set of pipes on her, right? But it looked effortless in the way that you were doing it. So that got me intrigued because some people need that microphone to project way up the back of the room. You didn't need it. And that was my first meeting of you. And then you became my teacher, or my tute for a whole semester, I think, for my vocal coach. And so I learned a lot from you in that 6-month period, I think, that we were together. But it gave me a real understanding of how important the voice is and having to, look after it. So when did you start getting into the vocal coaching game and understanding, the importance of voice? When did that happen, Floyd?
Well, the vocal coaching game actually came about sometime in the late 1980s as a result of me being on tour with a company in Scotland in a play, and I'd be doing my warm-ups and my exercises before the rehearsal, and other actors coming up to me saying, what are you doing, how do you do that?
Yes.
And I just say, well, I'm interested. I had been interested in the voice since I was 8 years old, and I was doing singing and dancing in the Townsville of Stedford, attending my Auntie Gwen's dancing school.
Hang on, so are you a North Queenslander?
Yeah.
Yeah, wow, okay. There you go.
And my voice, it seemed my voice broke. And I was 8, and I was used to just singing, and then suddenly I had this thing going on. And I went to Auntie Gwen, and she just said, oh, it doesn't matter. And I went to my mother, she said, no, it doesn't matter. And I said, but boys' voices break. Girls' voices aren't supposed to break. I've got this break in my voice. And no one could explain it to me.
Oh, wow.
And so I just kind of sought out any kind of training. I did speech and drama when I was at school, but that didn't answer my question. And when I left school, I would go to any kind of workshop, drama workshop, acting workshop, or anything that mentioned voice. And ask other actors what they did, kind of thing. And this went on right into my 40s.
Yeah, wow, okay. Yep.
And so I think, was it 80s? Yeah, that would have been in my late 40s, that in the late 80s kind of thing.
Yeah, wow.
By which stage I had done some training workshops with some pretty fine people with vocal methodologies kind of thing.
Yes. Okay.
And one of the actors in that company, a couple of years later, found himself heading up Langside College in Glasgow, further education college, their brand new drama certificated course.
Yes.
And he invited me to come in and be the vocal coach, vocal teacher.
Right.
And I said, no, I'm a terrible teacher. I'd tried teaching speech and drama, after I left school and got my teaching certificate. And I just found it was so boring. Because I thought you were supposed to teach what you'd been taught.
Yes, yeah.
The way you were taught it. I didn't know that you were to bring anything of yourself to it. You
bucked the trend back in the day.
I bucked the trend. And so I just thought, no, I'm a crap teacher. That's no use. So so when he invited me to come in, he said, well, I'll come in and I'll do the interview. And I walked into the interview and there's all these sort of council people, education department people lined up with David, something hyphenated Mitchell. Can't remember his name. And I said, I'll do it, but only if I can do it my way.
Yes,
and,
okay.
They said, well, there is a curriculum. I said, what's your curriculum? They showed it to me, and I said, no, I can cover all of that.
Yes.
But I'm going to do it my way. And they said, yeah. And I thought they'd say no, because I really didn't want to do it.
There you go. So they caught you out.
They caught me out, yeah.
You're doing a bit of a Dead Poet Society, Robin Williams kind of thing.
Well, I kind of did.
Yes.
And I walked into, and the first lesson, I thought I was going in to teach 30 first years.
Yeah.
And they had all 3 years in there. So I had 90, I think.
Right,
older teenagers, early.
So you had to use your voice then for the person up the back to hear what was going on as well.
It was just a very, very large classroom, and I just walked in. I said, "Look, I'm not a trained teacher. I have no certificates in voice teaching." I said, "All I know is what I know, and I'm used to working with professional actors. So I'm going to assume that you are all professional actors, and I'm going to just share with you what works for me."
Well, it definitely worked at Kelvin Grove, Floyd, because I think we all learned a lot from you, and probably I'd say that I think the connection with me too with you was you probably didn't stick to curriculum and you went off the beaten track, and you were getting us to do things that most probably the drama kids weren't used to doing, and you got us out of our comfort zone. But the proof was in the pudding for me to see you in this auditorium of 4,000 to 5,000 people, and for you to say, "Stuff it, I don't need the microphone," and then just to give a whole lecture for what was it, an hour or something without a microphone, and I could hear you as clear as day. That was very impressive. I thought, wow, okay, I'm in the right class.
Shay,
So
I hate to burst your bubble.
Yes.
But I don't think QUT has an auditorium that seats 4,000 to 5,000
people. Look, I'm probably exaggerating. It was big.
It was 300 to 400.
3 to 4. Come on, Floyd. Let's stick with the 3 to 4,000. No, it was a big auditorium. I swear, it was more than a couple of hundred. It was definitely more than a couple of hundred.
It was about 300 or 400.
Okay.
That's my memory.
God, and, Floyd, I was happy to stick with the 4,000.
With the 4,000 because the training works the same way. And
anyway, it was a big auditorium. But it was kind of like you were on a stage, and it was a theatre, and there was no microphone needed. I could hear you the whole way, and that to me was, and we were just talking about this off air, and about understanding when you're on voice and off voice. Mm-hmm. Can you explain that for the punters at home, Floyd? Like, you know, when you're on and when you're off, and you don't need to be on all the time, do you? Like
yes, you do.
Do you?
Yes.
Oh shit! Okay, all right. We're back to the class again, Floyd. You're teaching me.
If you're speaking publicly, Yeah, if
Yes.
you're just chatting with your mates in the pub, you can talk like this if you want to.
Well, that's what I mean. That's being off voice. So it's just like, if you're around the telly and you're just chatting with your wife over a cup of cocoa, then you don't have to be so eloquent and articulate and use the tonality that you may use if you're, say, presenting or acting.
That's true. You don't have to bring the whole thing to the party, but you do. Ideally, you do want to be bringing your whole voice. The actual, just the voice part, the part that sits in here, where the initial sound is created. You do actually. It is a good idea to be on voice in that sense, and I mean it's like if I want to lift something heavy, with my arms, my muscles are going to work pretty hard. But if I've trained them, then to the point where it's easy, then they're capable of doing that.
Yes.
If I just want to lift my mouse, I don't have to use the same amount of muscular effort to do it. But I still want to do it properly. I don't want to lift it so that it's dropping all the time. And when you're off voice, that's what you're doing. You're dropping it all the time because the vocal folds aren't coming together in alignment in a nice, steady, sustainable manner. And that's all being off voices. You're letting air through at the same time, so that you're not getting a nice steady. You're getting that breathy tone.
Very breathy, yes.
Yeah. And if you use that a lot, and if you try and get heard using that kind of thing, then you're straining because you're not going to get any more sound for that. And that's when you start to, develop vocal nodules, and it's just not a healthy way to use your voice.
The other thing that it can play on too is your confidence. So if you're, and this is in my family, we're all very loud and very vocal, except for Dad. Dad's Buddha. He's meditation man, right? And he finds it very hard sometimes to get a word in, but he's very softly spoken. And he was a school teacher. So he kind of lost his voice. He taught for 30, 40 years. So his voice started to go at the end. And I think if he would have had some training, I think he would have been okay. But now he's so very softly spoken because I think all the damage he did teaching kids for that amount of time. So on that note, Floyd, what are some things we can do to help the voice out so we're not feel like straining it all the time and, nodules are just around the corner? What kind of things can we just do in everyday life? Because I know that people that are going to be watching this, they're presenting on social media. They may have a presentation at work to do, and you want to be heard. You don't want to be, excuse me, can you turn it up? I can't hear you from 2 meters away. You know what I mean? So, what are some quick hints and tips that the punters can do just to improve their vocal quality?
Well, first off, ideally, learn about how your voice actually works. Learn about the physical, lost words, structure in what roughly what muscles are involved. You've got a voice box, but your voice box is only a tiny part of the story. Your voice is actually your whole body is involved in how you sound.
Yes,
because
okay.
This part here, inside here, your larynx, where your vocal folds sit, and your vocal folds are very, very delicate little structures, which is why it's so easy to damage them. So you want to build up the muscle tone around them so that they can just happily do their thing within there.
Yes.
And the way to do that, very simple. Baby steps. Start off with a little sequence of exercises that involves, first of all, just stimulating blood flow to that part of your body.
Okay.
Because just with any exercise, you want to warm up the muscles.
Okay.
Literally warm them up by stimulating blood flow to those muscles.
So can you do that by doing star jumps and push-ups? Is that what you mean by warming?
Do a few star jumps first, then you get the whole body warmed up, and then you're ready to start warming up the area in and around the larynx.
Okay.
And you do that by, first of all, just doing your off voice sighing. Yeah, nice and gentle. And then you do that 3 or 4 times. Then you build it up a little bit by attaching your brain cells to it, because your voice, how your voice sounds is what's going on inside you. And that includes your attitude, your feelings, and the way you are holding yourself in your body. It's all going to affect how you sound.
Okay.
Whether you like it or not. You can't just work this bit.
Okay.
So, with your first little sighs, I've got a sort of a voice. Nice, breathy, off voice. I haven't done my warm-up this morning. You'll notice sleep was more important to me. But then you stimulate it by having a thought. You think, something nice.
I'm going to everything you're going to do, Floyd. I have to do as well, okay? Because I can't be the guy sitting back just nodding his head.
No.
I'm gonna follow along.
Very glad to hear it. So, and you'll notice that if you try to do it technically by going, she's just doing a sliding down the pitch, going it sounds technical.
Yes.
And you don't want to sound technical. You want to sound like a human being. So you think something without judgment. That's very important.
Okay.
If the first thing you think is, oh shit, I've got work to do after this, then it's you go with that. You go,
Yeah.
You go with the first thing that comes to your mind, and you train yourself to allow that first thing to have its moment in the sun.
So would body language be a big factor as well, the way you actually hold yourself?
The way you hold yourself is absolutely, and I've got a little book called Grow Your Voice, which I just set out all of that stuff. It's available on my website, beingvoice.com.
Yep.
And it just gives you a few, warm-up exercises to get your body into its optimal posture.
Yes, okay.
I probably should have said that first, but you said quick and easy. So I was giving you quick and easy.
Yeah, well, we can't give away all the secret herbs and spices. You've got to go to the bloody website and get the whole package,
No, I'm actually happy to give it away. Because I want everyone to do it.
Yes, I agree, Floyd. Yes. Sorry.
So yes, the very, very quick and easy is you don't care about your posture. You're just going, and then you're going, and then you're going,
But it's like, as you said, with the thoughts, like that. That's a higher thought, as in a happy thought, as opposed to a sad
interestingly, here's another tip for you. As a species, the way our brains work, we are hardwired to think the word high means up there and low means down there.
Okay, yes.
That's not how your voice works.
Okay.
Your voice works on this plane.
Right.
Yeah, going out and slightly up.
Okay.
So you want to train yourself, when you catch yourself going high with a physical gesture, take that away and go,
but projecting that way.
It's just going out.
Okay.
It's just flowing out from you. And it doesn't matter what pitch it is, it's always going in that direction. So you leave your larynx to determine the pitch.
Okay.
Not your brain saying high.
Yes, okay. Gotcha.
Okay. We're talking about, getting technical here, we're talking about the two systems that we have that, organize and manipulate our physical being. We've got the central nervous system, which is your conscious mind, and you've got your autonomic nervous system, which is what your body does without the help of your conscious mind.
Yes, okay.
So if I want to pick something up, I need my central nervous system to operate the muscles.
Yes.
I want to keep breathing, I need to allow my autonomic nervous system to take care of that.
Gotcha,
I don't want to be thinking about breathing, because then my central nervous system takes over and I use all the wrong muscles.
And so I suppose that's just practice and it becomes a habit and autonomous.
Yes, it's brain training. You're training your brain to do
Yep.
what you want it to do rather than what it thinks is best for you, because it's not always right.
Well, I can probably give an example for that because my wife is learning the drums at the moment, and she's got the right hand going with the left hand and the left and the right foot. Now, if you've never played drums before, it's just a mishmash. It's all over the shop. So she's learning, and it's just by practice and those motor skills to get them the muscle memory.
Yes.
And once she's got the one and then she gets the second one, they're automated. So
Yes.
she doesn't have to worry about them. Then she can start worrying about the feet. Yes.
That's it exactly.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what you want to be doing with your overall sounding voice.
Okay.
as
Yes.
well,
Yes.
as well.
Now, how important is the breath?
The breath is very important, because if you're not breathing, you're dead.
Okay.
Okay.
You won't be teaching any vocal lessons if you're not breathing. Okay, so very important. Yes,
Exactly.
that's page 1 of the notebook. Make sure you're breathing.
You have been breathing perfectly, beautifully, efficiently to keep yourself alive since the moment you were born. And they smacked your bottom and you cried and took your first breath.
Yes.
So breathing is something that you want to keep doing, but
Yep.
you want to keep your conscious mind out of the picture
Yes. Okay.
until you know what you're doing, and then you can start to work with it to
Right.
get it
Okay.
even better up,
Yes.
as Ira says. Yeah.
And again, it's those things combined, and it's practice. So once you understand the breath, once you understand the thought process,
Yeah.
and then the direction, when all those things start to come together, you start to become on voice, and
That's right.
and people will actually.
Let me give you an example about this breathing thing. Shay, breathe out. Okay, you had air in there, didn't you?
I did.
And if you didn't, you would have taken some in.
Yes.
Your thoughts would have been on the out breath. Okay? I want to do a huge big sigh. Yeah. The air goes in, you don't even notice it. Your body knows how to do it.
Yes.
It goes, you want to breathe out? You're an idiot. I'm going to take some in first, and now you can breathe it out.
Yeah, it's automated. Yes.
But if I ask you to breathe in, Shay, take a deep breath.
We don't breathe out first and in.
Yeah.
We don't go, yeah, true.
Okay?
Very
now,
true.
If you notice, and you'll see it in the video, your shoulders and your chest started to lift. That is not a deep breath. That is a shallow breath.
Yes.
Okay? So that's what happens when your central nervous system, operated by your conscious mind, takes over. It says, oh, deep breath, that's a lot of hard work. I'll use all the big muscles.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And it sucks in your upper abdomen so that your lungs can't expand downwards and outwards. Where they are at their widest. So you've only taken the least amount of air that you could.
So the conscious breath sometimes is the worst breath.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's back to that autonomy is learning to breathe correctly.
Yeah.
And so you don't have to.
Exactly.
Because you're right. It's like, and obviously I was over exaggerating it, but that was my first thought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's instinctive. That's your brain, your survival system taking over and going, oh, yes, big effort is required here. We'll use big muscles.
I don't want to muck this up in front of Floyd, like, do you know what I mean? Like it's just inherent. Spot on.
As the student who is demonstrating the points that I'm making, you're doing everything I want you to do.
Good, okay. I'm glad I can be a good guinea pig, because that's the thing is I want people at home to understand the importance of breath, because you taught me a lot, and then I kept studying myself. I went into breath work, and I do the ice baths and the sauna, so I understand. But I think there's always so much more to learn. So
There's
I'm
always more. There's
yes.
always more. Yeah.
But I've noticed by doing these things. I used to have asthma as a kid. My asthma's pretty much gone. These just breathing techniques and understanding breath, and the hot and the cold stuff as well. I think it's. I'm now 45, but I feel like I've actually, and it hasn't been easy. It's been through work. that I have learnt to deal with these things, but now I just don't worry about them anymore.
Yeah.
And I think actually when you start doing these things as well, your heart actually thanks you for it as well.
Absolutely.
Yes,
Yeah.
and I've noticed that how strong my heart is now from doing these things, and breath has played a big part in it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's amazing, and it's some things you go through it and you don't quite notice, and you go, hang on, this is just easier now.
Yeah.
And so, but if now, Floyd, have you got any? Sorry, okay, I want to talk to you a bit about your podcast. So, sorry, do we want to tell the people at home anything more about breath, or go to your website and check out the app?
Definitely go to the website.
Yes.
Check out the
Okay.
app.
Because
Yes.
obviously there's going to be so much more in the app
Absolutely, yeah.
But once as
And,
you know,
incidentally, the app is only for the Apple.
the Mac
Yeah.
users,
But
right?
the non-Apple users,
The Androiders.
users,
Yep.
the files that are in the app are available to download
Okay.
as
Cool.
MP3s.
Gotcha. Okay, so you can still get it if you're a PC or an Android user.
Yeah.
But if you're Mac, you're sitting pretty. Yep.
Yes.
Okay. Right. Now, can you tell us a little bit more about this podcast you're doing? Am I Old Yet? What's this about?
Well, it came about essentially because I was. It was in the early 2021, January 2021. We were in lockdown over here. And a friend of mine sent the word out to all of her theatre colleagues to create 10-minute audio sketches that she could put on the website of her local community theatre to, keep their community entertained. And
Great idea.
I'm sitting here, and you had to record yourself in your bubble, only with the people in your bubble.
Yep.
And my bubble is me and my pot plants.
Yeah.
So
This is your bubbles in the background. It's the same bubble as it was 4 years ago.
it is exactly the same.
Yep.
Well, it's the furniture's been moved around a bit.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I wrote a 10-minute sketch. I timed it. I did all the voices myself, and I just didn't think about it. It was just a bit of fun. And I recorded it and I sent it off, and I thought, well, that was fun. Oh, I've got another idea. So then I wrote another 10 minutes, and I sent that off, and they came back and they said, we really liked them, but they seemed to finish too soon. And I thought, well, you told me 10 minutes. I gave you 10 minutes. You want more? I'll do more. So I wrote another one. And
That's always good feedback, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
They finished too soon. We were wanting more,
That's
Yeah.
right. So, so I just kept writing more of these little 10-minute sketches involving these same sort of characters that I'd come up with, and it was the theme that it was attached to was this woman who was my age. I think I was 77, about to turn 78 at the time.
Yeah.
And I had, in the previous 6 months or so, I had written a poem called "Am I Old Yet?", which I really thought about it because, and I'm noticing now that I'm sort of over the next hill, a lot of my friends and colleagues in their sort of early to mid 70s are starting to ask the same question.
Right.
It seems to be roundabout there that you're thinking, well, I'm of an age that I used to be. People used to say you're old. Is this what old is? Am I old yet? And so I examined it in this poem, which is in my book. If anyone wants to buy a book of poetry, go to the website.
Okay.
The poem is there. Yeah. Help me to pay... No, I'm not paying rent anymore. Help me to feed myself and support the podcast. Anyway, so back to the podcast. So I thought, oh, what's this podcast thing? And so I checked it out, and I set it up, and it became the podcast Am I Old Yet? Because the central character was asking herself that question.
Yes.
And the thing that fired her up was if she dared to call herself a silly old woman, as she frequently does, everybody would say, oh, don't say that, you're not old.
Yes.
And she'd think, well, when am I going to be old then? What does it mean to be old? And that's the question that she is initially anyway, investigating until other characters emerged, and I realized after, I think about episode 6, that I wanted a male voice.
Okay.
I was doing them all myself up till that point, and my grandson was 15, and he was a bit of a joker.
Yes.
And I thought, I'll write an episode for Owen.
Are they in Australia?
No, he's in Seattle.
In Seattle? Oh, shit. Okay,
States.
right.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
So I wrote this character for him, and I sent it off to him, and he said, Grandma, you need some more gags in there. And I thought, he doesn't get it. Too young. So I asked a guy who'd been in one of my classes at East 15 when I was teaching there, and I'd helped him out with a couple of projects. I said, do you want to try and play this 15-year-old? So he has been playing Renee ever since, and he's about to turn 30.
Lovely. There you go.
Lovely actor. And,
Yes.
And speaking of which, let me know if you ever want me to write you a role. I'd be delighted to.
For sure. For sure. Well, I was checking out your website too. There was another poem there. Was it your granddaughter that did the picture of the whale?
Oh, yes, Natalie, that's his younger sister. She's just turned 16 now.
Okay, and you saw the picture and thought you had to write a poem on the picture. Yeah.
Yeah.
My God, that's one talented granddaughter. Yeah, she's
Very, yes.
unbelievable.
Very artistic,
Yeah.
She not only painted the picture, but she called it "The Whale Invents the Universe."
Wow, very cool.
Yeah.
Is any of the grandkids following Grandma's footsteps? Are they any theatre goers? Any voice? No. There's a few creatives amongst them, but
they're all creative in different ways,
Yes.
Owen's he's just started at college in the States, and he's quite interested in history, but sport. They're a very sporty family.
Yes, right.
And Natalie is still very much involved in. She's always making something, crafty.
Okay.
Painting,
Yes.
always, and not so sporty. She plays sport because, well, it's quite funny. This last summer, she discovered, is it decathlon or something?
Yeah,
She got on the
10 events.
and she was doing,
Yep.
yeah, or maybe it was the 3 events one. Whatever it was, it
Okay.
involved javelin throwing.
Yeah,
And
that
she
sounds
quite enjoyed that.
decathlonish, I think.
But she's been in the soccer team forever.
Or
and she really
pentathlon?
does enjoy that.
Right.
Yeah, and then I've got 2 other grandchildren on this side of the pond, down the road from me here in Liverpool.
Okay.
Aurelia's 4 and Rafi is 2. And they're both are kids. They're creative. All kids are creative,
Yes. When did you move from Australia to the UK?
Oh, the first time I moved was in 1966. I got on a boat and came over.
Right. And so how long did you teach at Kelvin Grove for then?
On and off for about 4 or 5, maybe 6 years, I think.
5 or 6 years. Okay.
Yeah,
and in that
maybe.
time too, you
Always
also got
part-time.
you got a PhD.
Yes, I was studying at UQ.
Okay.
It was the 1999. I'd been back in Australia for about 2 years, and I'd been just creating my own project and working for other people and running acting classes on a Saturday morning at Metro Arts.
Yes. Okay.
And it was at the end of the year, and someone said, "What are you doing next year?" And I was absolutely exhausted. Everything had happened at once,
Yeah.
And I said, "I don't know." I always said I'd go to university if I had nothing better to do, because I left school when I was 15.
Okay.
Considered myself deeply uneducated.
Yes.
And they said, "Well, why don't you?" And I said, "Oh, well, they'd never let me in because I left school when I was 15. They said, you just sit the test." So I went, "Oh, okay." I went and had a chat with Richard Fotheringham, who was running the drama department at that point.
Okay.
And he said, "Yeah, you'd get in fine, Floyd. Just go for it."
just
So
put
I
in the
sat
application. You'll be fine.
And I got in, and I went in to study philosophy because I thought I'm never going to get a job out of this.
Yes.
Out of a university degree at my age. I was in my mid-50s by that stage.
Yes.
And so I did philosophy and music, and I had a great time. Yeah.
Well, so that's the other thing. You're also not into acting and voice coaching. You also play the guitar?
Not anymore.
Not anymore. Okay.
No,
I saw some pictures there.
I never really played the guitar well enough to accompany myself. I couldn't do the two things at once.
Yes. Okay.
I
Okay.
used to accompany
That's that
my
autonomy
husband.
coming into play again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Back in
Yep.
our folk singing days, I used to
Okay.
accompany my husband. But so yeah, no, I gave up on the guitar eventually, and I took up the ukulele, which is a hell of
okay.
a lot easier to get
Yes.
started.
It's a cool little instrument, the uke. I love the
Yeah,
uke.
I
Yeah,
love it.
my wife just bought one too, so
Yeah.
I just want to learn over the rainbow. That's it. As soon as I learn that, I'll be happy.
Okay.
Now, Floyd, if you were going to jump on stage tomorrow for a production for 4,000 or 5,000 people in in an amphitheatre, what would you do behind stage to get yourself prepped, warmed up?
Well, first I'd have to spend at least 3 months trying to get my voice back into good condition, because it's in very bad condition.
So you feel but 3 months? Do you think you could actually train and just daily exercises?
Well, we're about to see if that's possible, because
Okay.
I've been quite unwell for the past sort of 9 months or so.
Okay.
And thinking of doing voice exercises has been far from my thoughts, apart from on and off.
Yes.
And
Okay.
so I know my voice is not in any condition to put it under any strain.
Yes,
So I need to
understandable.
get the muscles getting back up to speed.
Well, let's just say when you were doing theatre, what sort of stuff would you do just to get
Okay.
out of the blocks?
I would do, if I was going on stage, before I went on stage, I would do a 45-minute, highly developed form of that
Yes.
little 3-minute
Oh, wow. Yeah, okay.
that you start off with.
Where's Floyd? She's doing her vocal training. She's out the back. She'll be ready for when the curtains come up, though.
She'll be ready, yes. And the last few years that I was performing on stage,
Yes.
I was mostly doing it with people that I knew and had worked with, and they knew how I worked, and we all did the 45-minute warm-up together. And
Yeah.
that's how you have an ensemble when you get on stage.
You're spot on. It should be the whole cast involved
absolutely.
in it, and it should be a united thing, getting everyone ready.
And every production, we would share our favourite warm-up exercises, so that we would come
Yes.
up with something that everybody was doing, the things that they love, that worked for them.
Spot on. Yeah.
Yeah.
You give me goosebumps, Floyd. I want to get back into I haven't done theatre for many years. It's more podcast stuff now.
Yeah.
And it's more technical stuff, but I do miss it, and I do miss acting as well, because I love it.
Yeah.
It's I think it's part of us, and and Floyd, I've got to thank you so much for everything that you've taught me over our time together, because it meant a lot to me to meet you and learn. As you said, I think I connected with you because you weren't on that curriculum-based run where it was just very black and white. You were sort of, okay, let's try this, let's be flexible with that, and you just get curious. So I think that was, if you want a recommendation from a past student on, what you were able to bring to the table when it comes to learning and actually wanting to learn more, then I thank you so much for that, the opportunity to be in your class to learn all those things, Floyd. So thank you. I appreciate it.
That means so much to me, Shay. Thank you so much.
Well, I wouldn't have you on the podcast otherwise, Floyd, and I mean it from the bottom of my heart. I think it just, and then, as I said, like I'm working with a builder right now, and with Dwayne. A lot of the audience will know Dwayne, and he's going to be doing some vocal lessons with you. But you were the first person I thought about straight away. I was like, oh, holy shit! I hope Floyd's still in Australia or some, and it could have been social media listening to me. But you popped up in the LinkedIn pages, so they're listening, they're hearing, they know what's going on. Yeah, and that's why I just wrote you a quick little message to say good day, and then you gave me all these excellent voice coaches in Australia. I was like, well, hang on, we can do what we're doing right now. So the fact that he can join up with you over in the United Kingdom from Brisbane is just awesome. So there's actually no excuses these days not to reach out. And if you're looking to, if you're a young up and coming actor, there's amazing vocal coaches like Floyd on the other side of the world that, can help you out. So the world is your oyster, and I think, through COVID, those times too, I think we have connected through these sort of types of modes. So it's very accessible these days, and I'm sitting in my garage at home with a bloody robe and a silly hat on, and I'm talking to you across the planet, and what is it? It's 9 o'clock over there in the morning?
Yes, 10 o'clock now.
10 o'clock, okay, yeah, and it's 8 o'clock at night here, so it's dinner time for me, and coffee time for you. So
breakfast.
Floyd,
slept in.
Floyd, thank you so much for joining us on the podcast today. And if anyone does want to check out your work, where can they go?
Well, my voice coaching is beinginvoice.com.
Okay.
For the app, it's amioldYet.com.
Okay, all right, cool. So
for me, in general, it's floydkennedy.com.
Cool. I'll put all those links into the show notes when it goes live. Floyd, I wish we had, like as I said, you're always welcome when you're over here in Brizzy to come join us for part 2 in the sauna, and I'll be working on my voice. Getting it to the next level to make sure that it's up to scratch for when you arrive. So I'll
and for when I write this role for you, I want you to have your full range at my disposal.
I will be my lip trills, my red leather, yellow leathers, and my unique I can't even bloody say it. Unique New Yorks will be on. Yeah, it'll be cherry ripe.
Great.
Floyd, thank you so much. And
Thanks,
everyone at home, guys, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And if you've got any questions for myself or Floyd, yell out and I'll make sure Floyd gets those questions. And we'll see you for the next episode.